Hello and welcome to my podcast Up Your Total Glow, your podcast for your body, mind and soul to support, guide and empower you to uncover your most glowing, healthiest and feel-good version of you. I am super excited that you're here because if you ask me, there's nothing that looks and feels better. In today's episode, I've got a super special guest for you. Today I'm speaking with Helen Airey. Helen is an energetic transformation coach and she's also one of my best friends. In this very beautiful interview, Helen shares with us why she is so passionate about what she does. She also explains what is integral unique design, what is conditioning, and how does it take us away from being our true self. How can we get back into alignment? And she tells us about our different paths and voices, the inner critic, the saboteur, the procrastinator, the perfectionist. It's a super interesting and special interview, and if it is your goal to uncover a happier, healthier, more authentic version of you, then this is a must listen for you. Please enjoy. Hello and welcome, beautiful Helen. I am beyond excited to have you here today, and I have to quickly let my listeners know that Helen is one of my most loved best friends, so dear to me, and this is why this interview today is even more special to me than all the other interviews, and I can't wait for others to see the amazing light, the amazing gifts that Helen has to share with the world. So here she is, the amazing Helen. I know this was quite an introduction. No expectations, right?
Before we even begin. Oh my goodness.
How are you this morning, beautiful?
Oh, my heart is wide open after that introduction. We really do have such a beautiful connection and a beautiful friendship and love. And I just feel very humbled to be here, as I said, Tears are here and we haven't even started.
Fantastic.
No, beautiful. Happy tears. Happy tears.
Right into the heart space. Hey.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, Helen, would you please introduce yourself briefly to my audience? So the big question, who are you? What are you doing? And how are you shining your light?
And okay, I find this really hard question, so let's see how it comes out today. Yeah.
Sure.
Because it's labels, right? And we're so much more than that. My name is Helen Airey. I call myself an energetic transformational coach, energetic transformation for leaders. It seems to be the words that closely resemble what I do, but that may change tomorrow, next month, next year, who knows. I really want to help people live their true self, access their true self, and really live the life that they're born to live. Which sounds really simple, doesn't it? Just be who you are, just be who you're meant to be. But there's a lot of unraveling in that. There's a lot of inner work, I'm going to say. So my passion really is to support people on their journey in doing that inner work so that their outside life can reflect really what's going on the inside, which, love, happiness, abundance, joy, flow, all of those beautiful words.
I love it. And I have to say, it doesn't come easy to me at all. So you have been so incredibly kind and have helped me and are still helping me on my journey to be even truer to myself, to find myself even more, to honor all the parts that I am, to evolve even more, to grow even more. I couldn't be more grateful to you and your amazing work. So let us know a little bit about, where does your passion come from? I'm sure there is, or I know, but I want my audience to know as well. There's a journey behind you stepping up and shining your light and helping others. So tell us about this journey, please.
Yeah, thanks. And aren't we all on our own journey? Yeah. Um, so look, as a child, I never really knew what I wanted to do. I never really felt that I fit into the family. I remember one of my sisters knew exactly what she wanted to do, and she went off and did it, and she worked hard, and she's a superwoman in my eyes. And I was really brought up in a very left brain, I'll say, detailed family, where just this creative side of me wasn't acknowledged, or the spiritual side, which is interesting because my parents are very religious and go to church. So I did what was expected, and I went to school, and then I went to university. I ended up studying maths, which was really everyone was so surprised. There was a game that people would play at uni. Which degree are you doing? And when everyone found out I was doing maths, it's like, really? I would never have guessed that. But that was what I was good at, because people in our family are good with numbers. And then, that led me into a nice job where I was working with computer systems, an applications consultant. I met someone, and we moved to Australia after getting married. And really, that's where my journey began, because I was in a very toxic relationship, and we had a child. And after a few years of trying to make it work, it was clear that it wasn't going to. And I started seeing a counselor, and that's really, I started reading books and understanding myself more, healing, empowering myself, finding more fun and freedom within myself. I'd come from a very dark place, and I don't need to talk about that now. I'm sure many people listening, with what's going on in the year that in the world the last few years, I think everyone has experienced some kind of fear or sadness or grief or anger. We've all had it. We're humans. We're here in a human life. So mine was really through my marriage and living the other side of the world for my family, feeling very alone, and then coming to where I am now many years later through my healing journey, through learning modalities, and then really finding what works best. So my passion, and I really believe that I was born for this, and I was meant to have the experiences that I had, but having gone through my own journey, and it's real life, I just love being able to support others in theirs. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing, and you do that so very, very well. I also believe that you were born to do this. Totally, this is so you, and I can relate to everything we go through. All of our journeys, all of our experiences help us to own our, or what we are meant to do even more, to empower us even more. It's not always easy, but it definitely makes us more empowered, more these human beings that maybe really can help others or can step up. And isn't it interesting? I find also that it is very often those relationships, either the relationship to self or the relationship to others, that are really our best teachers.
Yes, absolutely. If we choose to do the work and learn from them. And so yes, they can empower us, but they can also take us right down, and it takes that healing journey and the inner work for us to then feel that we are empowered, whether it's relationships through this lifetime or whether it's something we've inherited or it's in the collective. So I absolutely agree. These incredible teachers that we don't think are teachers, they appear as the villains of our life. And what doesn't kill you make you stronger? Well, sometimes, but you've got to do the healing in order to become stronger and more empowered.
Yeah, I don't think I meant it in that sense, like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I think that's really harsh. Like coming from the Ayurveda perspective, I really like the approach gentle and kind. This is the only way that true growth is possible. In saying that, have I always been kind and gentle to myself? No. So, this is a journey for myself as well. But I would love to dive a little bit deeper into your work because it's so juicy, it's so rich, and I have had no one else doing what you do in this sense. So I really want my audience to learn more about your work. So tell us, what is integral unique design? Because this is one of the things that you do.
So yeah, one of the things I offer as a starting place is to look at the moment that my clients came onto this planet or were born, and how they were imprinted, the codes that they were imprinted with. And I find this absolutely fascinating. So even though I come from a mathematical and a science background, the woo-woo side, if you like, or the magic, or the the ancient astrology, numerology, and a lot of the more modern ones coming into play now as evolution takes place, I find them fascinating. And what it can do is provide a map almost for our journey. So while I don't believe that there's any one system that can tell us who we are, it's like, well, that's ridiculous, because we're a soul. We are so incredibly complex. I do find it to be very useful for giving us a clue, if you like, into our journey. So what is my journey for this incarnation? What are the programs that I'm born with? What are the lessons and the challenges I'm likely to have? And what are the gifts that I bring? So the integral unique design is really that. It's to support people in understanding more about themselves and what they're here to work with, their gifts, their challenges, perhaps their unique purpose on the planet. That's it in a nutshell. And it's forever changing. So our journey, everything we're here for is a journey. So the deconditioning or the unraveling of ourselves so that we can actually live as we're meant to live, so that we can be our unique self and access our true self. That's the journey. So I do offer this integral unique design as a map, as a way to support us in our journey, if you like.
So interesting. And yeah, I've stepped my feet a little bit into this through you. And from this experience, I've just found it really helpful to understand myself or some of my makeup better, instead of, then beating myself up, or why do I always react like this? And I'm not saying, okay, let's just take it as an excuse, or this is just, how I am, so I don't have to evolve further. That's not what I'm saying. But if we, through this roadmap that you've just described, understand us a little bit better, I feel we can be more kind with ourselves, more understanding. And this is so incredibly powerful. So I totally love that.
Yeah, absolutely, because we are all unique. And I remember when I first discovered mine, and I, like you, I used to beat myself up, don't we all? We don't beat up others, but we beat ourselves up. I wasn't getting things done that day that I really thought I should get done. You know, my partner's very good at ticking off everything on his list and pushing through, and he's got the energy to get that done. And I've never been able to do that. And so I'd be promising people, oh, I'll get back to you and I'll send this to you by the end of the day, and I just wouldn't have the energy to do that. And when I understood my unique design, how I'm built, I realized that, oh, I'm not meant to have the energy. I'm actually meant to be open there. And my learning was, well, not to make promises of getting things done by the end of the day, but giving myself a longer lead time. So that was a really easy shift I could make that didn't take any mental or emotional upheaval. You know, it was just very easy, physical upheaval. So I think having an understanding of the fact that we are different is helpful, and that we are born perfect. Creator made us a certain way because we're meant to be that way, as you say, can almost let us off the hook for certain things. That doesn't mean to say we don't have other areas where, and like you know, I don't like to say work on, it's with ease and love that we can heal or we can change somehow. But just knowing that, you know, we're not meant to have that much energy in a certain area of our life because we're born differently and we're meant to bring these gifts in, or whatever it is, can be so helpful.
Such a loving, beautiful, and kind approach. It just fills me with so much warmth just hearing that. It's just so different to what we are usually bombarded with, like, get better and do this and you have to, and what if you just can't? What if your makeup is just really different, like you just described? You know, you wanted to do all these things and meet these deadlines or keep those promises because that's you and you have so much integrity, but from a human design point of view, too hard to do. So you had to learn, okay, I'm not making these promises in this kind of sense, which is so empowering and a really doable step. I would love to dive into something that you mentioned before. You were talking about conditioning, or you rather said deconditioning, which is juicy. But maybe tell us a little bit about what do you mean with conditioning, and then how does this deconditioning look like?
Yeah, thanks. This is probably the part that I most love about my work, because I come from this background of investigating systems and everything. So for me, conditioning, it's known as many terms. It might be blocks, trauma, you know, learned behavior. What have we learned from the family that we grew up with, through society? What are the rules that we've grown up with? What did we have to do to become that good girl or that good boy so that we could fit into the family? You know, it could be known as shadows or low vibration, or, you know, what is the trauma, what's the wounding? So the conditioning, when I say conditioning, it's really what's been imposed onto us, or what have we absorbed in order to survive growing up, from our family, from society, through our ancestral line, through past lifetimes, if you believe in that kind of thing. So what is stopping us from living in our true self? Conditioning. That's kind of my
Wow.
definition.
Wow. And I think we all feel that. Sorry for interrupting, but I think we all can relate to that there is this, it almost feels like an outer shell around us that keeps us stuck, or that's how it feels to me. I shouldn't generalize, because maybe others are way more enlightened than I am, but I can feel that so often pulling me right back to my family situation or whatever, and I just can't, it feels like I can't break out of this conditioning. So thank you so much for describing this a little bit more, because I truly think that most of us, are still trying to unravel from this outer shell.
Absolutely, and that's the journey, right? That's the unraveling, as he beautifully put there. Or it could be deconditioning, or what else is it known as? Releasing resistance, unlearning. Yeah, and also in schools, there's so much that we're taught in schools, the way we have to behave, the way we should learn. Um, yeah, so some schools are wonderful in treating children as individuals, and other schools really want children
To fit
to
in.
fit the mold. Yeah, I don't think we need to go down that tangent today, but unlearning and remembering our true self, remembering the magic that's within us all, the ancient wisdom. You know, we're so that the life we live at the moment, where we're seeking entertainment, we're seeking distraction, we're seeking avoidance, instant gratification. It almost takes us, well, it does, it takes us away from our true self. We're constantly looking for external stimulus, and it's distracting us from remembering our true self, and doing what we're really here to do, and having that inner joy and inner harmony. So this is, as I say, this is my biggest passion, is the journey of deconditioning, unraveling, healing, and remembering who we really are and embracing that. Yeah.
Wow, to the point. Yes. Um,
Yeah.
how do we do that, Helen? How do we bit by bit decondition?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, great question. You know, there are so many modalities around that can support things, you know, that um I've done many, I've gone through many modalities, and I found the things that work best for me in the most quick, easy, graceful, loving way. That's, you know, so I've discovered these things that were right for me, and I do believe that everyone's on their own journey, and they will attract the tools that are right for them at that time, and the tools may change. So you know, I've tried kinesiology and coaching and Reiki and pranic healing, and I could rattle on and on and on. There's many things that I've tried, and many things probably that I still have yet to try. I love learning. I love seeking. What I found works so well for me and for my clients is a fusion, if you like, of Eastern philosophy and some Western techniques that have come through. So some Western psychology, and it's this beautiful fusion. So for me, I work with a combination of something called voice dialogue. Voice dialogue is a psychology process where we're looking at the different parts of the self and realizing that each part of the self really wants what's best for us. So if you know, when we're talking about deconditioning, there'll be a lot of resistance, for example, that comes up that most people are really familiar with. You know, most people know that they've got an inner critic, right? And that voice that's always, you mentioned this earlier, right? That's criticizing ourselves. You should do it this way, or for me, you should have got that done. Should be better. You should be smarter. You should be thinner. You should be fatter. You should be whatever it is. So we've got the inner critic, we've got the perfectionist. Yeah, the perfectionist stops us in our tracks for doing things. If I can't do it perfectly, I'm not even going to try, because the perfectionist is there to keep us safe, possibly because we were never good enough as a child. Always, it was whatever we tried was never good enough. So we have these parts of resistance that are there to help keep us safe. So I love working with the parts of us that are resisting, and also there are parts of us that we may not even be tapping into, like I call them the team spirit. So accessing those enlightened parts. You know, many people may have heard of the witness or the observer in some spiritual teachings, the part that's always watching but doesn't judge, doesn't it's looking at the emotion but it doesn't feel it. You know, there's no judgment, there's no emotion. And so that's one part that people may understand that we have available to us. Whether they can access or not is another matter. We've got access to who I call the divine mother, but that part of us that loves unconditionally, that holds the child, that just is so compassionate and so loving. It has unconditional love. These parts are infinite. One of my favorites I call the battle goddess of compassion, and she really helped me re-embrace my power, because one of the learnings for me in this life is to overcome this power battle between the masculine and the feminine. And I feel that I'm there. Maybe the universe will send me a little test soon just to see, but I feel that I've embraced my inner empowerment. So power, sometimes that word is confused, or interpreted to be, I'm going to be powerful and I'm going to, put people down. And I don't mean it from that point of view, but it's this empowerment from a feminine point of view, where I can do what I'm here to do and set boundaries with love and kindness, and not be put down by the masculine, or not be overpowered by the masculine. Does that make sense?
Total sense. I love that. And for me, this was such a revelation yet again in your work, to actually acknowledge that we have so many different parts within us. And if, for example, the inner judge comes out, or judgmental, I don't know quite if that's the right word in your language, but the person or the voice that is judging, that doesn't mean that I'm a horrible judging person. This is just one part of me. Or like you said before, the negative part of me, or the saboteur, the inner critic. And yeah, this was completely new to me, because I don't know, I never really heard any of this or thought in any, it was just new. I just thought, okay, I must be a bad person, or I must be this or that. And it just makes things so much more whole and true, because clearly we all have all those parts. There's no one who is just this. I mean, we are all beautiful, but like we said right in the beginning, we are all super, super complex. And there are always also voices within us that might not be just beautiful. Obviously, what we do with those voices then makes all the difference. If we, really go, I don't know, into a really negative voice and then do harm to others, this is not the idea. But just being aware of those voices, that we have them, is a complete different situation. So for me, this was very empowering yet again, and also very freeing. And again, I feel through that I can, instead of suppressing these emotions or these voices, I can more tap into them, and then in a kind way to me and to others, take action. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And so when I worked with you on, I think it was the inner critic we worked on with you, understanding that these parts of resistance, that I call them, that they're actually there for our highest good, that they believe they're there to help and support us. And so when we talk to them individually and we get to know them, so the inner critic's job is really to help us to be the good girl, because we needed to be the good girl as a child in order to fit in to the family. And if we didn't fit in, and there's a real threat of being abandoned or rejected on an energetic level, on a DNA level, we're tribal. And so from a survival point of view, we needed to be the good girl or the good boy. And the inner critic is there to remind us when we're not being that, you should be better, you should be doing this, you should be apologizing, you should be perfect. And so when we understand that, for example, here, the inner critic loves us, and cares for us, but it's just acting from a very young age. It doesn't realize that we're all grown up now and we've actually left that family that we grew up with, and we're adults and we can fend for ourselves. And so by giving that part love and giving it time and space to be heard and allowing it to evolve and grow up, if you like, giving it new rules. So it's like, yes, thank you for doing your job, but we're all grown up now. So I'd love it if you could remind me when I'm I'm I don't know, expressing my anger on someone before I've dealt with it myself, or something. It's thank you for reminding me when I'm not living within my value system. Let's just say that. And we're teaching these voices. So and once we've given them time and space and love, it's really interesting how quickly they soften. And then from a manifestation point of view, I'm sure many of your listeners will know about the law of attraction. I love the law of attraction. And there's so much spoken about with visualizing and ask for what you want and then being in the vibration of receiving. But so much that affects our point of attraction is the resistance and the unconscious behavior, the unconscious voices, those that we've shoved down into the basement, that we've locked, the shadow aspects of ourselves that we haven't integrated into our being, that we haven't acknowledged. And we know, as you said, I think you used the words, I feel more whole. And really that's what we're looking for. We're looking to be fully integrated human beings, happy, harmony, healthy. And we can't be that unless we've integrated those shadow aspects that we've perceived to be bad.
Wow. So would you say that the more integrated we are, the more aligned we are in general with our true selves and with the world, and then able to tap into our full potential, or to speak with the law of attraction, to attract the life that we want and that we are here for to live? Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good summary. So for me, the more we embody the divine masculine, the witness, stillness, and the more we embody the divine feminine, the unconditional love, and bring those parts to help heal the parts of resistance or the parts that are contained, holding on to fear and pain, then absolutely the more we access our true self and we can go out and live in our genius and live the life that we were born to live.
Wow, beautiful. Hallelujah to that. So juicy. Helen, I am such a huge fan of the work you do. Where can others find you too?
The best way to connect with me is probably through email, connect@helenairey.com. You can go to my website. I am in the process of updating it at the moment. By the time you listen to this podcast, maybe it'll be updated. But there's an option there where you can subscribe to my email list or just get in contact. I've also got a page on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I post every now and again there. So yeah, I'd love to support your listeners. If this resonates for them, maybe they'd like to look at their own integral unique design, and that might bring some instant relief and ease to their life. And that's what we're looking for, isn't it? It's for everyone to feel better. We're all beating ourselves up so much, and we don't need to be. So if we can feel better, understand ourselves more, that not only helps ourselves, but it has this ripple effect on our friends, our family, our loved ones, and then it goes out into the world. And that's, wouldn't that be amazing if the work we do on ourselves has this ripple effect for everyone else, and humanity as a result is lifted up.
Which I truly believe that's the way how our world rolls. I truly, truly believe that every single act of kindness every single thing that we are able to resolve within ourselves, to do for ourselves, this then has traction and will help others and will make our world a healthier, happier place. Helen, you have shared so much wisdom with us today, and I could speak to you forever, obviously, for so many reasons. Not just because you're the kindest, most loving person that I know, an absolute goddess, and I couldn't be more humbled to be your friend, but also because you are so full of wisdom, knowledge, and experience. I can highly recommend you to anyone who wants to live a more fulfilled, happier, more successful life, because I know you can totally help them to step more into the version that they truly were meant to be here for. But could you give us, please, 3 quick gold nuggets? So for my listeners to have 3 quick or fairly quick things they can remember, how they can step into the best version of themselves.
3 quick nuggets. Well, I've got one word that comes to mind, which is love. Every part of ourselves just wants to be seen and heard and loved. If there's any way you can bring love, or even just stop beating yourself up quite so much, understand that you're doing the best you can, then that can bring huge relief. I remember one of my clients just kept beating herself up because she was still using alcohol as a way to escape. And as soon as she accepted that that's what she was doing and maybe that was okay, she was ready to stop. But when we beat ourselves up about something, it generally doesn't change the behavior. So acceptance, here's where I'm at right now. Can I be okay with that? Can I love the part of me that's in pain? Yeah. So love. Every part of us just wants to be loved. Pause would be another one.
Yeah.
Pause. We're so busy trying to do and be a human doer, and we're a human being. And that's not to say that we should just be and meditate all day and not do, but I find that in this crazy life, we just do. So can you pause? Can you, there's a wonderful app called, I think it's called Triple Flame, written by, or created by Richard Rudd, who developed the Gene Keys. And it's just every 3 hours, it's the most simple and effective practice. Every 3 hours, you pause for 3 minutes. Every 3 hours you pause, and you can download the app on your phone. You can just set a reminder. Doesn't mean that you have to stop and meditate and stop doing everything, but you can be pausing while you're doing something and you're coming back to mindfulness in those 3 minutes. So pause and love. I'm going to keep it at 2.
Yeah, perfect. These were so rich. I don't think we can take any more right now. No, so beautiful. Absolutely love your gold nuggets. Sorry, yeah, you go.
And I just want to say, Ruth, you are amazing. And I love you so much. I appreciate you so much. Not only are you a beautiful friend, but you have also supported me so much. So just for the listeners, to let you know that I had a hip replacement 2.5 years ago, and Ruth was there through the connection, supporting me the whole way through. And then since you've arrived back in Australia, how you supported me in from my food and hormones and helping release the heat from within my body, because I'm at that age. It's just been, your knowledge, your love, the way you approach. I just love you so much, and I thank you so much for everything you've done for me, and I really hope that others benefit from your wisdom and reach out, because it's just been fantastic. You've done what many other people have not been able to do. So thank you.
Thank you so much. You wanted me to get teary now, didn't you? No, just joking. Thank you so much for your very kind and loving words. Means the world to me, because truly this is what I am trying to do and what I feel I'm here for. And yeah, if I can make a difference in someone's life and help them to be happier, healthier, more balanced, then this is where I feel happy, where I feel this is my place to be. Thank you so much. Is there anything, Helen, that you would still like to mention that we haven't touched upon that for today is really important? I know I've got to have you back, but just for today, is there something that is still really, really important that I didn't touch upon?
I'm trusting that everything that's been said has been what's needed. We, as you say, we could just keep talking and talking and talking, but I feel that that's right for today.
Right, fantastic. And yes, so your work is so complex. There are so many layers to it. You've got so many modalities up your sleeve. This is also why I was almost a little bit scared to do this interview, but I feel we have given the audience a picture of how you roll. And yes, we can go much more in detail in another chat.
The only thing I wanted to add to that was, while the learning I've done has been complex, my actual role is to make it really simple for my clients, and so that they're not overwhelmed and they don't have to go off and do the learning. I've done the learning, I've decoded, I guess that's partly why the maths is coming in useful. I can read patterns and numbers and put things, wrap it up in a way that's very simple and practical for my clients to implement. So that would be the only thing I add on to that.
And you definitely do that extremely well. Thank you so much, beautiful Helen, for taking the time to talk with me today, for helping me support, guide, and empower others to live a happier, healthier, and more balanced life. I am super grateful to you. Thank you so much.
It's been an honor. Thank you, Ruth. I love you.
Love you too. If you love and enjoy my podcast, then I would be absolutely thrilled if you could help me to make our world a healthier, happier place. And you can do so by liking, subscribing to, sharing, or reviewing my podcast, because this is the only way that others can find the content as well. I know that you were born to live your best life, to feel absolutely wonderful in your beautiful body, in your brilliant mind, and in your boundless soul. So what are you still waiting for? Please make sure you do. I am your biggest cheerleader. Keep glowing. I believe in you.